I'm Bob Adams with Housing Virginia. Housing Virginia is a statewide organization whose mission is to expand understanding, awareness, and support for affordable housing throughout the Commonwealth. We do this through information, research, and by working closely with local and regional partners. SOURCEBOOK provides up-to-date, accurate, and comprehensive information about what's going on with housing affordability in your community. Its companion is PLAYBOOK, and if you find a problem with affordability, PLAYBOOK can tell you what you can do about it. Let me take a couple minutes to show you several features of these important tools. Here we are on Housing Virginia's home page. Let me scroll down and you'll see we have a lot of information on the home page, news and events over here. A couple of new projects we're working on right now that I would encourage you to visit. Here's Housing 2020 that I mentioned before. We have a blog post and a news feed that we update regularly, some research we've done. But here's where I want to get to, which is the Housing Virginia Resource Center at the bottom. You see these three major icons: SOURCEBOOK, PLAYBOOK, and Research. Research includes a wide range of research reports that we've categorized by topic. Urge you to go there. You can find out a lot of information about what kind of research has been done on various housing-related topics for Virginia and nationally. So SOURCEBOOK, let me click to open that up. This is the first page you'll see in SOURCEBOOK. You can see that within SOURCEBOOK you can get information for the state or for any of the MSAs in the state, and then for any city and county in the state. The type of data that's available you see here on this drop down. We have 20 different resources that are available. HAI, housing affordability, which I'm going to show you in a minute, but we look at 30% of median versus housing costs. We have building permit data, loan activity, sales data, paycheck to paycheck, which I'm going to show you. We also have a new feature, which is Housing Plus Commuting Affordability Index. That's an interesting new project. So let me go up here to HAI at 60% of median, and I will select the city of Richmond from this drop down. There we are. And now I push select. So these boxes show you for a household at 60% of median in the city of Richmond, which is $24,062, how affordable is the median sales price for under this sold component, or the median gross rent on an apartment for the rental component. And you can see pretty quickly here, for a family at that income level, it takes almost 50% of their income to afford the median sales price, which is $175,000. For on the rental side, it will take almost 44% of their income to afford the median gross rent of $881 in the city. This data is updated quarterly, so as you can see here, this is for the first quarter of 2013. If I go back up here and I check View Chart, then when I come back down, you will see that all of that data is arranged in a chart for each quarter from 2009 to 2013. The other thing we do here is we show this on a graph, which will show you what's been happening with home ownership affordability, the yellow line, which has been on a roller coaster since 2009, but generally declining, and of course that's because sales prices have come down. Rental housing has been mostly flat, but above the level of what's affordable for a family at 60% of median, but trending up over the last couple of years. The other thing that we do at the bottom here is we'll show you for this category of affordability at 60% of median, what does it look like for the state as a whole? And the darker the shading for the jurisdiction, the greater the challenge of affordability. All right, let me come back up here and take you to another example, and I'm going to look at paycheck to paycheck. I'll stay with the city of Richmond, and I'll push select. Now, for paycheck to paycheck, what you can see is for number of job classifications, and we have 70 that are pre-programmed into SOURCEBOOK. For those job classifications, you can compare the median income in those classifications to the cost of housing in that jurisdiction and find out, for example, how affordable is housing for any particular income, for any particular job classification. So I'm going to select a couple here. I'll plug in school bus driver and a dental assistant, a fast food cook, and I'll do one more, childcare worker. Now, if you have a particular income that you're interested in looking at, you can enter that manually. So I'm going to put in $22,000, and we will put that in as a bookkeeper. Now, coming down, this will show you, you'll see two charts here. The first is for homeownership. I'm going to look at the one for rental housing. So for rental housing, the minimum income needed to afford the median rental unit in the city of Virginia is over here, this red bar, $35,223. And you can see for the job classifications that I've selected, including this one that I manually entered over on the side, all of those fall well below the median needed to afford, the minimum income needed to afford that median rental unit. The only one which is slightly above is that dental assistant position, which is at $36,000 compared to $35,000 for the minimum needed. Let me quickly go back up and show you one more thing before we leave SOURCEBOOK. I'm going to come back up to Quick Facts, and this time I will look at the state as a whole, and I will select. The first thing you'll see is the housing affordability indicators, which I described earlier. If you go down, you'll again see that charted over time over the last 5 years, and again the map. But now we look at what's been going on with housing cost burden in the state, that is, households paying more than 30% of their income for housing. And you can see for the last 5 years that has been gradually increasing in the state, now up over 1 million households paying more than 30% of income, so they are cost burdened. That same data here for 2012 you can look at by income range. So for example, for incomes below $20,000, almost 90% of those households are housing cost burdened. And then finally, we look at a couple of charts showing what are the challenges for households at 30% of median, the low look at. And for rental housing here, for example, you can see that median gross rents have been rising since 2008. Median income has also been rising, but not as fast. So for a person at 30% of median in Virginia, they could put 100% of their salary toward rental housing and still would be unable to afford that median priced rental unit. Homepage for PLAYBOOK. And I want to show you very quickly just a couple of ways that this resource can be used. If you think about SOURCEBOOK as the way to find out whether you have an affordable housing challenge in your community, PLAYBOOK is the way to find out how to solve that challenge. What we've done in PLAYBOOK in partnership with the Housing Research Center at Virginia Tech is to survey all of the localities in Virginia and create a database of all of the affordable housing programs that are currently being implemented around the state. We organize that, as you can see in this drop-down, under 19 different categories, from affordable dwelling unit program down through community land trusts, environmental hazards, housing trust fund, and a whole range of others. So that all of those categories of programs are available, and like SOURCEBOOK, you can look in any jurisdiction in the state to find out what they're doing, or you can look for all of the jurisdictions. Let me start by selecting Fairfax County, and I will select for the program type Affordable Dwelling Unit Program. Hit select. So now you can see there are 3 ADU type programs in Fairfax. The first up here is for homeownership, the second for rental housing, and then there's a reduced cost rental housing program as well. So looking at this ADU for homeownership, you see a description of how the program works, and then you can click over here to see details, get more information, and information on who to contact to find out more information about the program up at the Fairfax County Department of Housing and Community Development. And very importantly, you can click through to the source document. In this case, we're looking at the Fairfax County zoning ordinance, and within that zoning ordinance you would see the section on affordable dwelling unit programs. So that allows you to get the exact language and find out exactly how the program's being implemented in another locality. So let me back out of that and show you another way you can use SOURCEBOOK. If I went back up to the top here and I selected all jurisdictions and then a program category, I'll go ahead and look at land use and zoning, and I'll select. Now this will tell me all of the programs throughout Virginia, and you can see there's about 25 or so listed here that operate in the arena of land use and zoning. The very first one at the top of the page, accessory apartment program in Charlottesville. There's a brief description of how that program works. Again, you can click through to detail, find out who to contact in Charlottesville, and go to the source document for Charlottesville to see exactly what the details are on how they implemented that program. So Playbook is a tool that is especially valuable if you are looking for creative ways to solve affordability challenges in your community without having to reinvent the wheel. You can look and see what other Virginia communities are doing, what's working, find out how to transfer these programs to your own jurisdiction. Thank you for listening today, and please, you can see at the top of the page here there's a place to contact us on the website. Send us your thoughts and ideas, especially your recommendations as to how we can make these tools more useful and helpful to you. Thanks again.